Hello, all, and welcome to this recap of day 7 of the Apple River trial. This was the last day of evidence because at the end of the day, defense rested. They only brought one witness other than the witnesses they have brought out of order. So it was kind of a quick day. Nicholas Mew was on the stand for a couple of hours, almost. No, I think like 90 some minutes. So not the longest, but very interesting. We have been talking about should he take the stand. We know from the Rittenhouse case that in Wisconsin you always need to take the stand as a defendant in a self-defense case. He did it. I'll return to how I think he did on the stand. But the state had two more witnesses they brought before him. They had Dr. Froloff. He did the autopsy. It was just to tell you what the damages was, that he was stabbed. He had a 11 centimeters, 4 inches deep puncture wound to his chest. The guy had a blood alcohol content of 0.219. So he was beyond hammered. Then they were talking about the way the insertion went in one of the people with no, not that wasn't that victim. Sorry, but he had some ribs cut. He had a 4 inches deep stab wound, and other than that, he was just saying, yeah, it wasn't a natural death, but we know that. He can't talk about if it's self defense. Oh yeah, and what he talked about was the depth of the wound. Could it be because someone is moving towards you, so it goes in deeper? And he said, "Well, I don't know. Maybe I did. I don't know anything about that." He wouldn't really say yes or no, but then the defense kept going on and on about would it have an impact on the depth of the wound, and they admitted yes. If someone is closing in on you, it could have an impact because that's kind of where the self-defense part comes in, that the guy Isaac, who isn't here anymore, was moving in on Nick. He's the guy who grabs his throat. The last witness was B Hart. She's the one who interviewed Nicholas at the prison. Nikolai, sorry. She never watched the video before the interview, and she did a little shady thing that police can do because she said, "Oh, you can have a lawyer," and he said, "Oh, I might want to talk to a lawyer." Yeah, you can get one on Monday. This is on Saturday. Oh, but you can just talk to me, and if you want to stop at any point, it'll be fine. That's one of those shady little tricks they can use because you said you wanted a lawyer, but you didn't say, "I won't talk to him. My lawyer is here." So everything you say goes right into your case. The interview, he mentioned self-defense a lot in it. He talked about the kids calling him a predator. He also said that the kids provided two weapons. I think that'll be a problem with the jury. Someone said one of the days that they found a kitchen knife, and he might have heard that over the radio, so that's why he made up that story. They didn't go into that more. He went over to the kids because they were hiding something, the same thing he's been saying the entire time. He was in fear of his life. He lied about having a knife himself. Not a good look to the jury, in my opinion. Doesn't know why the kid were that mean. He was circled by the kids. He feared for his life. He was lockjawed. He couldn't speak out of fear. And he tripped and fell, and he couldn't. Again, he kept saying a lot of the right words, but I don't like that he told stories about the knives. I really don't like that. I think the jury will listen to that and think about that in the jury box. And he was asked why he didn't go away, and he said, "I didn't want to get my ass kicked. but now my entire life is going down the tubes. And his wife had been very scared to go out there before they went on the trip, because he said there's always problem. He promised her, no, it'll be fine. So yeah, that's sadly that came through. The defense harbored most about could the untruth because he was in a high stress environment and he was stressful, and they said, well, maybe your statements could get muddled up a bit because you're stressed. That could be why he didn't remember having the knife. But he didn't really change his story the entire time. The only thing he changed is the kids having a knife. And she didn't know anything about, because she didn't see the video, so she didn't know how the people were around him or anything. And she had no facts that he was looking for small girls. So yeah, and she had no idea when she was talking to him that he was told what was going on, because we have that video where he's sitting in the car and they tell him what's going on and he lies there too. And I think that's a big problem. That came up again during his statements because, of course, defense went first, trying to make as pretty a picture of it as they could. He flat out admitted he lied about the knives. I think that was smart, taking the blunt of that problem. Talked about how he was in fear of his life. He was pushed. There was a lot of noise. He didn't know what was going on. He had a bad health. He had just had a quadruple bypass 2 years earlier. He always carried his pocket knife because he used it as an electrical engineer. So it wasn't unusual for him to have it. And he never did anything with girls. And he knows now, after seeing the videos, the memories he had at the time wasn't the same as it is today. Contrary to that, you have all the kids who said, no, our memories are better today. He said, well, I thought that at the time, and after seeing the videos, I can see it's not what happened. There was a lot about that Madison started everything, and he never did anything, say anything other than he pushed her away with his left hand. That's what his statement was. There's been tidbits of Madison's interview leaked on court TV. I still haven't found the full transcript. She claims she was struck by his left hand. So maybe, but she changes it during the statement to the right hand because, of course, that lines up with the rest of them. He just stood his ground. He didn't run away. He didn't want to get punched. But he didn't want to walk away because he stood his ground. And then they came into a bit of. He was so he was so afraid that he actually pooed his pants, and he was so afraid being punched. He was punched multiple times, and he believed he was under attack. He used the knife because he was attacked. It was self-defense. He was afraid he would have died. He had been drinking, and then the state went into what the state does a lot, because it's always the wrong knife, the wrong gun, the wrong bullet. And you didn't have a reason to have a knife. Well, we know he had. Well, you could just have bought some shorter strings to. Yeah, but it's not illegal to have a knife. Yeah, he didn't have a purpose. Well, he did. Why didn't you just let the phone go? Why should he? They talked a lot about why were you on the left side of the river when you lost the phone on the right side. Well, water doesn't flow on one side of a river. It's not a highway. It goes all over, and it's not illegal to cross a river. And they kept. That's a stupid thing that this defense started talking about. His fear level. They always talked on a fear level scale. Where were you? It just sounded so corny. And then the state started using that on an angry scale. Where were you? And he was 1 in the entire time. And then he kind of got into a place where he said, I don't remember. And the state kind of got to just make a narrative of everything. They asked him so many leading questions that you should have done that, you could have done that, why didn't you do this? And he said, I don't remember. And his lawyers kept saying objection, and they were the objections. The judge ruled on them and said, "Yeah, move on to the next question." But they just did it the entire time, and that's a way to tell the jury, "Oh, we think this is this as this." It doesn't matter that it was an unfair question because the jury heard it. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. But he didn't remember much of it. That's everything that happens after. He kind of said, "I don't know anything about anything." But they finished by saying, "I totally lied about the knife." And that was his testimony. I think his testimony was weak to begin with. I don't like the way his lawyer asked questions. Then the state started asking questions. I think he came off better on the question from the state. The ending of the state's question with all the I don't remember, not the biggest fan of that, because the state got to tell a story that the jury heard, and then the judge ruled against it, but it doesn't matter. The jury heard it. After the jury was sent home, we heard some of the jury questions or jury instruction discussion, and they put in a lot of lesser included. I hate that the state is allowed to do that at ending of a trial. If you charge a guy with a crime, you have to prove that crime. No, they just expanded the charges. Now it's filled with lesser included. My prediction, and I don't know anything. So, but my prediction, he will be convicted of one of the lesser included charges. I don't think he'll go down for first degree. I think he'll get one of the lesser included because it's always a compromise. Because you have 6 people who want to go first degree, you have 6 people who want to acquit. They'll meet at a lesser included. It's a stupid system, and I hate it. We've seen it in the Caroline Thaler case. Exactly the same thing. You put more option in front of the jury. People who want to convict will most likely talk people who don't want to convict into a conviction because, well, it's just a lesser included. He's not going to do 60 years in prison. No, he's still going to do 25 years though. And at his age, that's a life sentence. But join me back at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central Time. That's when we start up with jury instruction and closing arguments. Thank you for watching.